Hi, it's Therese and Lostinpaper. I'm here for Scrapbook Boutique, and today I'm going to be using this Avery Elle stamp set called Viking. And I'm not really keen on the sentiment that's in the centre of it. I like the sentiment, but it does limit what the stamp can do. So I thought it'd be more versatile to me to sort of just remove it. So what I'm doing here is I'm just using a sharp craft knife and I'm carefully cutting out the centre of the sentiment. I could easily mask this as well. If you didn't want to cut your stamp, that would be a good way to do it, but I decided that I was more likely to use it more often if I didn't have the sentiment there. It just makes my life easier because now I can just stamp out the image without having to worry about masking. So let's get on with our card now. I'm just going to mount this stamp onto a clear block and then using some Memento Tuxedo Black because I'm going to be Copic colouring today. And just got some smooth white cardstock, which is Copic friendly. And then I'm going to be colouring out my image, and I will list all the colours over at my blog. I have sped this up because this is quite a long video. I've got lots to share in this with this card today. So I'll be back when I've finished the colouring, and I'm also going to fussy cut this image as well. So it won't be long. So I've got a little bit more stamping to do, and this is another Avery Elle set called Dreamboat, and I just want to use the actual boat image from this. It's got a couple sitting, it's a really sweet little image, and it's got a couple standing in the actual boat. So I'm just doing some selective stamping. So that's the good thing about these little dewdrop ink pads, is that I can actually just pick the areas that I want to add ink to. And I'm just using my finger to wipe some of the ink away where I'm not happy with it. I'm going to stamp this onto a piece of design paper. It's out of a paper pad. It's from Simple Stories, Snap Basics, and it's like a wood grain paper pad. It's also got some like pages or paper images as well. It's a really great paper pad. I like it. I just thought this boat would be great done as a wood boat, like for the Viking. So it's not very thick design paper because I'm going to be popping it up. So before I fussy cut it out, I'm just using some Tombow Mono to adhere it to a piece of scrap white cardstock, just to give it that bit of support. So while I'm getting my pieces together, I am just going to use, this is the, what's it called? The Wonky Stitched Rectangles from My Favourite Things. It's a die-namics die. I'm just going to quickly run that through my Big Shot. And then I'm back to the boat now. I've already cut the whole thing out, but I just wanted to show you how you can add a bit of depth to an image that's on design paper. Because I used a Copic friendly ink, I can actually use my Copic markers to add some shade and some depth to this boat. It's really easy to do. So now I'm going to work on my die cut panel background, and I've hand cut a cloud image and I'm using my distress inks to add a cloud background, and I've got my blending tool as well as some iced spruce ink, and just working my way down the panel and not being too careful here. I'm not really worried about the way that it's going to look because it's going to be behind everything. Not going to see much of this image. For the base of it, I decided to use the faded jeans, and in my mind this looked a little bit too blue against all the other images. So to get over that, I just added some ice spruce on top of that, and that gave it that kind of grey, you know, sea look about it. So for my sentiment, I decided to create a wooden sort of speech bubble, and I don't have anything that's going to fit this sentiment, any big enough speech bubble to fit this sentiment, so I thought I'd create my own. And I've got the same design paper, and using some mini alpha stickers, these are the black and white ones from Kaisercraft, and then I'm simply just sticking all these little stickers down on to the cardstock or onto the design paper before I create my speech bubble, because then I know it's going to be exactly the right size. So I set out the sentiment that I wanted to use. It says "Let's party" like it's 999. I don't know, my husband didn't think that was funny. I thought it was very funny. There you go. We'll see. Whoever gets the card, hopefully they get it. I don't think just because maybe my husband doesn't get it doesn't mean that it's not funny. Okay, so I'm creating the actual bottom of the speech bubble right now, and I've just left a little gap there, and I've drawn some pencil lines, and I can simply just cut that apart. But I'm not liking the way that it looks on the panel. It's just too big, and for a little while there I thought I was going to ditch this sentiment altogether. I just thought it wasn't going to work. But what I did instead was I did cut it down a little bit further, rounded the corners just slightly with my scissors, and I've used some of my Copic markers again just to add some depth or some shading to the outside of the wooden speech bubble. I think it just makes it look more like a sign, and that seemed to work. Once I'd done all that, I was actually happy with the way the sentiment turned out, but for a little while there I was actually going to ditch it altogether. So now it's time to assemble my card. I've added some fun foam to the back of the actual panel. I did support the panel with another piece of white cardstock just because it did warp a little bit running it through my die cutting machine. I've added a couple of stamped waves, that's from the Dreamboat set, and used the Onyx Black ink for that. And now I've just got to work out exactly where I want my Viking and boat. And I decided to pop these up as well. Originally I wasn't going to, but once I got started I just thought it looked a little bit better. And for my Viking, don't freak out, I'm just cutting off his, well, boots, so not really his feet, technically. I want it to look like he's actually standing in the boat, and because the boat has that centerpiece, that's actually the bit that I shaded. So if I had sat him behind, it would look like he was standing behind the boat. I didn't want him in front of it, so that's why he's had to have his feet chopped off. So I've used some stamp runner as well as the foam squares on the back of that. And I'll pop him up as well. I've already added some fun foam to the back of my speech bubble sign, and I've allowed that to dry, so I'll just add a little bit more Tombow to the back of that so that I can adhere that to make it look like he's saying "Let's party like it's 999." And that's pretty much my card for today. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back again real soon. Until next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.